Hello everyone, back to today's third and final video. You're going to have a look at the weather for the next week to 10 days for today's third and final video. It's going to take us to around the 17th of August. So we're going into the second half of the month with week to 10 day updates right now. So we've released two videos so far today. The first video was Storm Watch because the heat wave is breaking down. That's the big story of the weather at the moment. The hot weather, we've still got very hot weather in the southeast, temperature to 30 degrees this afternoon, or above 30 degrees this afternoon. But the heat is on its way out as cooler and pressure moves down country from the northwest. So by tomorrow we will all feel rather cooler and fresher. As it happens, we may generate some thunderstorms across East Anglia and Southeast England. They look quite hit and miss, but there could be some big storms around in the extreme southeastern corner this evening, particularly, and into the early part of the night, where they rumble into the North Sea. And we gave you all of the latest information on that with Stormwatch. We also had a look at the ECMWF 30-day ensemble model. So that's taking us to the beginning of September. Check out the two updates that we've had so far and see what you think. I say this is your week to 10-day video update. We're going to begin with the radar picture at the weather outlook because down in the south we have got the signs of the change. Look at this, coming through the channel and onto the south coast. We've got some heavy showers and even a few thunderstorms potentially in there as well. Let's see if a lightning detector is flashing away. Yes, it is. We have got a few flashes of lightning here from around sort of Salisbury over to Canterbury. A few flashes of lightning, not all that much in way of lightning at the moment, but I would expect these to pep up a little bit, these showers, through the course of this afternoon. They could become quite intense down here in this southeast corner as they rumble northwards and affect kind of like southeast England, and possibly by the end of the afternoon East Anglia. If I just zoom you back out again and we'll move up, you'll see there is a few showery bursts. Let's zoom in again to northwestern parts of England. That's where our cold front is currently residing. So if you're wondering where the cool air is, it's in a line, or the cold front is depicted by this line here, sort of down to Lancaster, Preston, and going into Liverpool as well. So areas south and east of that, that's where it's still hot. To the northwest of that, it will be cooling down. In fact, these are the latest observations from XC Weather. You can see there is quite a big temperature contrast across the country today. So in the southeast corner, it is still very hot. Watchisham is up to 30 degrees. Southend is at 30 degrees. Well, Luton is at 30 degrees. London Heathrow at 30 degrees. Our hottest temperature is 31. One of these weather stations here, IMIS, however it is, it's in Norwich. 31 degrees has been achieved so far. That's 88 Fahrenheit. It'll probably go up another degree or two in the next hour or so. So 32, 33 is likely to be our highest temperature. However, you have to go further north and west and you'll find it turns cooler. So at Church Lawford in the Midlands, temperatures are at 26 degrees, still very warm there. Oxford is at 28, but let's go a bit further west to Hereford, and there we see the temperature is at 25, so gradually becoming that little bit cooler the further west you go. Shawbury is at 23, and then let's go further northwest to Liverpool Airport, where we're at just 17 degrees, much cooler and fresher now at Liverpool. Go to Carlisle, 17 degrees there. Strathallan up in Scotland is at 18 degrees. Tulloch Bridge is only at 14 degrees there across western parts of Scotland. I mean, down to Northern Ireland, Belfast, only at 16. So a big temperature contrast. Normally when we get these big temperature contrasts, we would tend to get widespread thunderstorms being triggered by that sort of contrast of temperatures and air masses. But as I said, the thunderstorms are going to be rather restricted to the southeast corner, as has been the case throughout this summer. It's one of the reasons the summer has been so very dry, because although it's been a hot summer, we haven't had the traditional thunderstorms that you would normally expect in a hot summer. And today is a good example of that. Yes, there will be storms in that southeast corner, but nowhere near as widespread as you might expect with such a big temperature contrast. But the main point is that these much cooler temperatures that we've got up in the north and west, where we're just into the low to mid-teens Celsius, those cooler temperatures are working their way south towards a heat wave. If you don't like the heat, if you're fed up with heat, the heat wave is on its way out. Probably only temporarily, but it will be cooling down for a few days. Central England temperature looks like that. So provisionally for August, very hot start to August. Of course, following on from the really hot July and also very hot, hot June. Provisionally to the 6th of August, we're standing at 19.9 degrees, an anomaly now of nearly 4 degrees above average, 3.8 degrees above average. So a very, very hot start to August. That's probably about as hot as it's going to get. I don't think tomorrow's update will tick that up to 20.0. It may do, but I don't think it's been quite hot enough in the Midlands to do that. So I suspect that's as high as it's going to get. And then the next few days should see that lowering, certainly back to the 18s, I would have thought, by this time next week. So that's probably going to be the peak of the month, 19.9. Of course, not the peak of the summer, because back in the early part of July, we actually had the central temperature up above 21 degrees for a few days. It's a very hot start to July as well. Right, so this is how the GFS temperature and precipitation ensembles are looking for the next couple of weeks. We're looking at Norwich today, so we just looked at Norwich in terms of the highest temperature that we've got at the moment. 31 degrees has been recorded at Norwich, 88 Fahrenheit in the last few minutes. The red line here is a 30-year upper air temperature average for Norwich, starting off very, very hot. Of course, temperatures, in terms of the upper air temperatures, are peaking today, bang downhill all the way. So by the time we get through to the second half of the week, honestly, we're much cooler and we're much fresher too. This rise in the temperature just here, that's associated with an area of low pressure that's coming in over the weekend. So although the upper air temperature does lift up a bit over the weekend, it's associated with cloud, it's associated with maybe some outbreaks of rain, so no sign of anything particularly settled and warm there. And then after that through to next week, for a time next week, we're looking around average with the temperatures. But as we go into the second half of August, this period just here, kind of like the third week of August, if you like, signs that the temperatures are starting to lift back up again. Now, we saw this with the ECMWF 30-day update as well, that the third week of August could see high pressure re-establishing, and well, I wouldn't necessarily say a return of a heat wave at this point, but certainly a return to warmer, drier conditions through the third week of August before the fourth week. Hope you'll be able to follow this. The fourth week actually sees a return again back to cooler and more unsettled conditions. So we're going into a more changeable phase now. It doesn't look like we're going to lock in for weeks and weeks to hot and dry weather, but expect the temperatures to be rather up and down week by week, and the third week could be our next sort of hotter, drier interlude. You'll notice as well that the thick green line here, that is the latest operational run of the GFS, which I'm going to show you in a moment. It was really quite a hot run, but it is kind of like an outlier. It's not quite an outlier because it has got a little bit of support, but it's certainly one of the hottest members. Most ensemble members don't go as hot as that. But I think we are seeing signs that the third week of August probably going to have another warm up. As far as precipitation is concerned, the next few days will see some rainfall. These precipitation spikes just here are associated with chance of thunderstorms coming through this afternoon and this evening across East Anglia and South East England, and then at the end of the week and into weekend we have got some rainfall spikes showing up there. Probably a bit of a drier trend, if anything, through that third week of August. Temperature anomalies are close to average, so obviously a cool down is taking place over next week. This is going from the 7th to the 15th of August. Scotland and Northern Ireland a little bit cooler than average. England and Wales a little bit warmer than average. Highest temperature anomalies, though, are moving off into the central and eastern part of Europe, so becoming hotter in the east and cooling down a little bit in the north and west in the week ahead. Precipitation anomalies are looking like that, so much drier than average over in the east of Europe in this sort of area through to Black Sea. In the northwest, it actually looks more unsettled there. And this is backed up by what we were talking about in the ECMWF 30-day update. For the northwest of Europe, the UK and Ireland included in that, it will be a rather cooler and a rather more unsettled week coming up this second week of August, and then probably back to warmer, dry conditions in the third week of August, and then probably in the fourth week, long way off, a little bit cooler and more unsettled again. This is how the GFS is looking for Friday. So we're in this westerly flow on Friday. It'll be a pleasant day. Sunshine and showers in the northwest, mainly dry in the south and east. Temperatures not too far from average. Weekend looks quite unsettled, so low pressure is heading in from off the Atlantic on Saturday. And then on Sunday, that low pressure is still there over top of the country. We can expect showers or longer spells of rain. Looks like the wettest weather will probably be in the north and the west, but all places could get some rain over the weekend. Into the start of next week looks rather showery through Monday and Tuesday, but by Wednesday we're beginning to see signs of the Azores High starting to reach back into the south. Still got low pressure across central northern areas though, so more unsettled up in the north through the early part of next week, but gradually through next week this high pressure from the Azores is starting to build. We've got into the third week of August now. This is day 10, Friday the 17th, and that ridge is building up from the south, so it is turning drier and warmer again as we go into the second week of August. There's the upper air temperatures there looking quite warm. We go into the more extended range. This is Saturday the 18th to Sunday the 19th, still with that high pressure over the country. Bear in mind the GFS ensemble show this is one of the warmest options within the GFS ensemble, so it's not particularly well supported, but it's going to pan out like that. But it is an indication that the third week of August possibly brings us back to drier and hotter conditions once again. By the time we get through to the very end of the GFS run, which is Thursday the 23rd of August, we're finding that it's beginning to turn more unsettled and cooler again as we move towards the final week of the month and also towards that all-important bank holiday weekend. And by the way, August and late summer bank holiday weekend updates will begin at Gavsworth over the weekend as that whole weekend comes into the time frame of the GFS model. This is how the ECMWF is looking, rather showery and temperatures not too far from average at the end of the week. This is Saturday, that's Sunday. It looks quite unsettled, especially in the north with showers or longer spells of rain. We keep generally quite changeable conditions going through to the start of next week. There's the ridge trying to build up from the Azores High, but low pressure is still out in the Atlantic. Actually, this ECMWF run is a little bit more unsettled compared to the GFS, so that's how things look at day 10, which is Friday the 17th of August. Yes, the Azores High is building into the southwest a little bit, but overall that's still quite an unsettled sort of westerly type flow, and certainly for the north you expect some spells of rain to be coming through with that one. That's probably more supported as well, that kind of scenario within the GFS ensemble. But I do think the third week of August could see a return of the Azores High. And then we go through to the GM, the Canadian model, looking like this. So rather unsettled, showery conditions over the weekend to the start of next week, quite cool and showery too. And then into the more extended range, we find that this high pressure tries to build in from the Azores as we go towards day 10. Still looks rather cool with the upper air temperatures, but gradually the Azores High looks like it's beginning to get a little bit more of a foothold as we go through the third week of August. I reckon we'll probably get another spell of quite dry and warm weather, but I wouldn't expect it to lock in and become very extensively hot and dry for many days, such as we've had through this summer. I reckon if the Azores High does throw up another ridge, it'll probably be quite temporary, and I think we are going into a more changeable phase within the weather now, but that doesn't mean that we won't have any more hot conditions. I think we will have another spell of very warm weather at least through the third week of August. Before that, it is looking rather changeable. The hot weather in the southeast continues for a few more hours. If you like it, make the most of it, because by tomorrow it will feel quite a lot cooler and fresher, although overall the weather's not going to be too bad at all, with quite a lot of dry weather through to the end of the week. Temperatures much more pleasant, if anything, closer to average. It's going to be a nice couple of days, and then over the weekend, rather unsettled conditions. Right, so that's your 3 updates for today. Hope you found them interesting and informative. That's all for now, and thanks for watching.